This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Christine Leahy, what a trooper, joining me today.
I'm good. You know what? We were talking about those like weird shots that you like to take of the vitamins.
Yeah.
I did that this morning. They're disgusting. But I'll be good. You look nice today.
Going casual today.
I like it.
Going hip today. Mm-hmm. As hip as I can get. So UFC 205 is in New York City. Because of my schedule, I couldn't make it out there. Couldn't make it out there. But I'm sure I'll go to a UFC card someday in New York. Already been to one in L.A. and Vegas. We'll get to that in just 1 second. It's going to be massive. It's going to be the biggest thing that's happened in Madison Square Garden. Sorry, hockey guy. In 20 years. It's going to be the biggest thing in 20 years. Let me just even start with this. I don't think people realize it. We just had a bunch of elites not pay attention to regular people, a little arrogant. For those of you who don't get UFC, these will be the highest priced tickets and the most coveted tickets in New York City for a sporting event inside that building in 20 years. It's a world famous sporting event venue. You can tell when something is really powerful by what it does to its opponents. UFC's killed boxing. I mean, boxing's done. They can't create new stars. They're still hanging on to Manny Pacquiao. Look at wrestling right now. Seriously, it's pathetic. Undertaker, what is he, 60? Is Ric Flair fighting this weekend? John Cena's your only star, and he rarely fights. You can tell the quality of a business by what it does to its competitors. And if you put wrestling, theatric, fake, UFC, theatric, real, boxing, real, look what UFC's done to him. Conor McGregor, I said this when he fought Nate Diaz. It was Ali Frazier. Now, it was different, but it was Ali Frazier. 5 guys in my room, all different ages, watching that fight, couldn't leave. Could not leave. I mean, look what's happened to boxing since UFC arrived. UFC has made boxing look dull and slow and inactive. And look what UFC has done to wrestling since UFC's really arrived. It's made it look less authentic, sad, desperate. The Undertaker, Triple H, Sting, Goldberg. God, do better. I mean, listen, you've always been a bunch of booger-eating phonies. I mean, it's fake wrestling. But now look at wrestling. You can't create any young stars. You don't have the UFC's energy. You don't have their momentum. You've never had their authenticity. Wrestling now, we always knew it was fake. You can't even create stars anymore. I mean, you're like Paul McCartney at the Super Bowl. It's like, we've run out of people. So Eddie Alvarez fights Conor McGregor, and Conor McGregor is little Bruno Mars, little Charles Barkley, little A-Rod, little Ali, a lot of stuff. I mean, he's just going a million miles an hour. He'll join us over the phone today in about 30 minutes. He takes on Eddie Alvarez. And Eddie Alvarez and Conor McGregor are going to have a weigh-in, and it's going to get incredibly ugly. But when you watch this business, whether you like it or not, and you can arrogantly look past it and feel like we're number one, wrestling and boxing, look at what UFC has done to both. Boxing's like inactive. Wrestling's like cornier and more desperate than ever. Here's Eddie Alvarez talking about the fight with Conor McGregor. Oh God, it's going to be unbelievable.
He's the least intimidating man I ever met. I never been face to face with a man, and my heart rate has not gone up or something I felt inside emotionally. That's never happened to me until I was on stage at the press conference at Madison Square Garden, where I literally felt nothing, and I felt the least threatened in my life.
So that is Saturday. I want to shift gears and talk about something called scarcity. Not much of. There is a scarcity of great, and it's all over the world. And I didn't realize this when I was, in my 20s. But as I've worked for a long time, one of the things I've realized, not a lot of great. Think about that Super Bowl halftime show I was just talking about. Now think about that. All the musicians in the world. There must be 100,000 people doing a solo act. There must be 10,000 bands. And at every time you get to a Super Bowl halftime show, the producers of that show get down to the same people. Is Bruno Mars available? Is Beyonce available? Is Lady Gaga available? All the solo acts, all the bands in the world. Okay, Lady Gaga did the anthem. Okay, let's ask her to do the halftime show. They've run out of people. Good God, didn't they wheel out Mick Jagger a few years ago? Scarcity of great. There's not much great. So I saw this report this morning. NFL teams preparing mega offers for Jim Harbaugh. According to Mike Freeman, Bleacher Report, several NFL teams are preparing to make mega offers to Jim Harbaugh. This is going to be $10 million, $15 million a year. Why? The scarcity of great. Listen, there's pretty much, you can either be a great coach, you can either be a very good coach, or you can be a good coach. And sometimes I think we don't realize how hard it is to even be the second and the third level. Okay, let's say great is 1% of coaches. Nick Saban, he's great. Bill Belichick, Harbaugh, they're great coaches. I would say there's maybe, if you look at college and pro football, 10 to 15% of very, very good coaches. David Shaw at Stanford, Bruce Arians, Arizona, John Harbaugh at Baltimore, Mark D'Antonio, Michigan State, having a down year, but a very good coach. And then you get to good. Maybe 20%, 25%. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I think I'm not. Marvin Lewis, Cincinnati Bengals. Jason Garrett, Dallas Cowboys. Mark Richt at Georgia. Les Miles, a good coach. I mean, Les Miles did win 77% of his games. That's a pretty good coach. Everybody is seeking great. Folks, there's not even that much very good. Ask a law firm looking for another great attorney. Ask a hospital looking for another great surgeon. Ask an accounting department looking for the next great accountant. Forget great. Jim Harbaugh's great. There's almost no great. Super Bowl halftime shows. In the whole world of music, they come down to the same 4 acts every year. Somebody get Bruno Mars on the phone. Oh, he's booked. That's because he's always booked. Okay? I saw a story yesterday. Stuart Mandel, Fox Sports. He was defending Brian Kelly of Notre Dame. Notre Dame fans are unrealistic. Notre Dame fans are completely unrealistic. Brian Kelly's a bum. And Stuart Mandel said, before this year started, he'd won 71% of his games at Notre Dame. He'd had 2 double-digit winning seasons. And do you know the most wins of all current active FBS coaches? Brian Kelly's got 30 more than Nick Saban. Do you realize that? Of the most career wins of the active FBS head coaches, Brian Kelly easily in front over Nick Saban. Folks, look at not just who ran for president, the nominees in both parties. It's not lowering your standard to seek good and support them. It's realizing the standard. Everybody's seeking great. Hire good. Hire good, support them, and hopefully elevate them to very good because of the operational support. Good and very good is hard to find. Jason Garrett for Dallas. That's a good coach. They draft an offensive line. They get him 2 good quarterbacks. They hire a better defensive coordinator. And now good Jason Garrett, 7-1, very good. Even that's hard. When San Francisco ran Jim Harbaugh out, you and I looked at each other. Are you out of your mind? San Francisco ran Jim Harbaugh out of town. There may be 6 great football coaches in North America. The best guy in Canada, Mark Trestman's come down here, can't keep a job. And Canada's a fine country with good football and terrific maple syrup. Had one great coach, came down here, couldn't win, can't keep a job. And forget great, good and very good is hard to find. So when I hear Notre Dame fans complaining about Brian Kelly, are you out of your mind? Are you on crazy pills? Forget great. You're not going to hire great. The great guys are hired. They're Bruno Mars. They've always got gigs. Nick's got a gig. Belichick, Urban, Harbaugh, Andy Reid, Sean Payton. They're not taking that job. What you've got is a good to a very good coach. Give him support. Get a few players into school right now you won't allow, and take that good to very good coach up 5%. Good God. I mean, people are out of their gourd. Be patient. Finding good is a real thing. Jason Garrett's a good coach. Cowboy fans wanted to run him out for years. Well, you finally got an offensive line. You found a little Dak. You got a little lucky. Got the right defensive coordinator. Oh. Looks like you're the best or second best team in the league. Little patience. Take a deep breath. But for the record, once you get the great coach like Jim Harbaugh and Nick Saban, you got to fight off people. It's like dating the hottest girl in the room. Good God. Got to fight them off. Fish.
Makes you like them more, though.
Oh, I guess. Eric Mangini was talking yesterday on our show. He worked with Jim Harbaugh. Everybody, well, we got to get Harbaugh. We got to get Harbaugh. You're not going to get Harbaugh. There are very few people in the world like Harbaugh. Eric Mangini was on our show yesterday. He said, I've been around football 30 years. I've never met anybody like him.
So many coaches I've been around have talked about, I love football or the love of the game. He is the extreme of that. He's the guy that when we'd come back during training camp, couldn't sleep the night before because he was so excited to get back to work. Like a young, like a childlike enthusiasm for the game. And then it's so sincere, it resonates with the players.
Yeah, he's just a unique dude.
Hey, sports fans, football season is here, and it's time to get in on the action. MyBookie.lv, an industry-leading website, is offering a 50% bonus when you join and deposit today. Are you sick and tired of getting the runaround when you ask for a payout? Come join MyBookie.lv. With decades of expertise, no hassle payouts, and no fine print, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Did the game already start? Don't sweat it. MyBookie offers in-game live action on all your favorite sporting events. Call 844-900-2387 or visit us online at mybookie.lv to open an account and claim your 50% bonus. Pull out your smartphone to sign up with our user-friendly mobile site for adrenaline on demand. What are you waiting for? Get in the game. Call now to claim your 50% bonus before it's gone. That's 844-900-2387 or go online to mybookie.lv to open an account and start winning today. Only the biggest, only the best, only at mybookie.lv. Sign up today.
Conor McGregor will be fighting Eddie Alvarez. You are 28 years old, Conor. You're a guy that could do a lot of things. You could do a lot of things in your life, Conor. If I said to you, you're going to fight 2 or 3 more times and that's it, is that unrealistic? How much longer do you go?
You never know as far as competitive fighting goes, but I'm going to last a lifetime. Let me tell you that. I'm going nowhere fast anytime soon. So, but as far as competitive fighting, who knows? It's a dangerous business. It is a crazy business. I'm enjoying the ride right now. I'm fresh. I'm in my prime. I'm only coming into my prime, 28 years of age, as you say. So we'll see. But right now I'm living in the moment. We're in New York City. The city is absolutely buzzing. The energy is through the roof. I'm about to go and collect the second one title, history making. I'm just enjoying this moment right now. And then we'll see what's after that when we get shut.
Conor, sometimes football players will say when they get into the Super Bowl, they've got so much energy, they can make mistakes. There's a difference fighting in Vegas and L.A. You are at Madison Square Garden. This will be the biggest moment, in my opinion, in UFC history. Are you concerned at all that you'll be too hyped up?
No, because I'm an experienced fighter nowadays. I've learned from many experiences that I've came through. I'll certainly be hyped up at the press conference. I'll certainly be hyped up at the weigh-ins. I'll be hyped up at the correct times. But come fight time, I'll be right bang in the center. I'll be in the zone. I will neither shy away from it or be hyped up from it. I will just be right in the middle area taking in all the energy, and I will go in and handle my business.
I lived in Vegas
That's a veteran fighter. Not many people can do that. Many people get swallowed by it or get too excited by it. Only a veteran that's been at the top for many fights can go and do that, and that's what I'm going to go and do.
Conor, I watched the Nate Diaz fight. I said it at the time. It reminded me of Ali Frazier. It was remarkable sports television. With Nate Diaz, will the Eddie Alvarez fight be that combative? Do you think it will be a similar looking fight?
I don't think he has the. He doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the range. He doesn't have the cardio. He has the toughness. He's a tough guy. He's been around the block. He's been a champion in previous organizations. The organization he was in previously was champion. Now he's the UFC champion. He's tough. So if he can last and if he can get back up off the floor like Nate did, then maybe we'll have a barn burner. But I just don't. I don't see it. I see him. He's too easily hit, and that's it. He doesn't have any attributes to aid him. He doesn't have reach. He doesn't have height. He doesn't have size. So I can't see it going any other way than a dominating performance and a stoppage by knockout or strangle. So we'll see. But I'm ready. I'm ready to go into the trenches. I've become a lot more accustomed to that now. So I look forward to that if he can bring that out of me. So we'll see. But it's going to be a hell of a fight, know that.
How surprised were you, Conor McGregor on the line, when he called you the least intimidating fighter he's ever fought?
Yeah, he's got to say something. But he's got to say something to hype himself up. But in reality, all they do is talk about me. All they do is worry about me. His coach has been planning to fight me since way back. So he can say what he wants. But when we came face to face, When we came face to face originally, he stood on his tippy toes. He had a weird reaction. He started making these funny faces, tilting his head side to side. It was a you can't hide these reactions. In that moment, in that pressure moment, when the fans and everyone's there, you cannot fake these moments. You can't hide them. And between me and him, we could see what's happening. It's a guy that doesn't know what's happening. He's panicking in there, and he's trying to convince himself this is not what this is, but it is what it is. And on Saturday night, he will find that out.
Conor, I looked this morning and I was reading a file on you about who was your inspiration. And a lot of people have inspirations. But to be as great as you are, I was surprised that you didn't have an inspiration. Can you explain that to the audience?
I take inspiration from absolutely everything. Maybe you read that wrong, or not necessarily a sole individual, but I take inspiration from anyone who's working hard, who's chasing their dreams, who's going against the odds, anyone who's being told that they cannot do something, that are actually going and doing that something. That is what inspires me, and that can be from any field, not just from fighting. That can be from any walk of life, even somebody chasing a dream of setting up a business or anything. Just somebody who's hardworking, somebody who's pushing on and going against the grain and defying the odds. That inspires me and motivates me.
Conor McGregor joining us, Eddie Alvarez. It is... this fight is going to Madison Square Garden, and I used to live in the East Coast, is just a remarkable venue. And New York, there's so much energy in this city. And, Conor, you are now, if you count boxing and UFC, you are a star in America. Do you sense it? Do you like it? Are you oblivious? Like, how does that land for you?
It feels good to come over this side of the pond. I'm not from here, but right. I certainly feel like I run here. I walk outside and there's fans, and they must be they're kept behind barricades to keep them. It's absolutely crazy out here at the moment. So I'm just embracing it. I'm grateful for it. And Saturday night, I will go and prove my worth here and put on a great show for my fans that are showing me the love out here for a kid that's not from here. Like I said, I'm from Dublin, Ireland. And to come over here in these places and be made feel like a king out here it's a great feeling and an inspiring and motivating feeling.
Dana White said you're going to become the first fighter potentially to hold two belts simultaneously. And Dana White has said, listen, we got to take one from you. Does it? I mean, what is your relationship? Because you and Dana are both really business people. What's your relationship today with Dana?
I love Dana. I've all the time in the world for Dana. Him and Lorenzo, they helped mentor me in this game. And as far as that decision, I mean, they're talking of stripping me before I even get it. I was like, it's strange to me. I mean, I'm the reason. I'm the reason. I'm the reason they're all chilling right now. I'm the reason the company was sold for 4.2 billion. And I continue to show up. I continue to fight. I continue to break all these records and bring the sport to that next level. Because no other fighter is on that next level. I'd be watching cards that don't involve me, and I'm like, I know why this sport has not got to that next level just yet, or hit that mainstream, because none of these fighters are on that mainstream. They're not there yet. They fight sloppy. They fight ugly. There's no clean work. There's no, So, I mean, all this stuff I'm doing, and then they're talking about stripping the belt before I even get it. Look, it is what it is. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But right now, I'm focused on the moment. This is historic. No one's going to take this moment away. They're trying to take it away from me before I even got it. But hey, this is the business we're in. It's a cruel, crazy business. But I'm going to go and cement my name in history. And that's it. Raise these 2 world titles, and then, like I said before, bring that army, because you're going to need that army to come take that belt off me. And that's what I'm saying. So we'll see what happens.
Conor McGregor, finally, press conference at 3 Eastern today after our show. And I used to cover Mike Tyson, and about 24 to 48 hours before a fight, Mike Tyson's personality changed. When do you get to that moment before the fight when Conor, you don't even want people around you?
I think that's just fear. That's just another form of fear. I see that sometimes. Like, people take this phone away from me. I'm gonna not be in contact with anyone the day before the fight. Man, I could be on the phone walking into the octagon. It's another day for me. It's another day for me, and that's the way I treat it. So I understand how I prepare to make the walk. I understand. I do my warm up routines and I keep everything correct. I loosen out the body, but as far as keeping people away from me, that's just like a superstition, and to me, superstition is simply another word for fear. So I don't have that. I don't need a pair of lucky jocks, and if I don't have them jocks, then I'm and it's over. And that's all. That's ridiculous to me. So it's just another day for me doing what I do, whooping ass and looking good.
Awesome. Conor McGregor, Eddie Alvarez. Watch the fight, folks. Thank you, Conor.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Perky Jerky came out with a bunch of new flavors that I think you should try. Jammin' Jamaican, Brewmaster's Pale Ale, and Barbecue with Soul, and that's SEOUL because it tastes like traditional Korean barbecue. What I love about Perky Jerky, the flavors pop. They're bold, and the jerky, you know this, really tender. For me, Brewmaster Pale Ale, fantastic. I mean, think about it. If beer and jerky go hand in hand, why not put the beer and the jerky in one? It's like a happy hour in a bag. To get your hands on this new flavor, hop on over to the Home Depot. Or if you'd rather shop online, go to perkyjerky.com. And don't forget to put the code in Colin. Also, if you love it, go to Twitter and say you love it at Perky Jerky. Did you see this, what Kevin Durant did last night? 28 points, 4 for 7 on threes. He's averaging 29, 7.5, and 3.5. He's clearly become the alpha dog on that team, the Warriors. But here's the thing about Kevin Durant. Everybody criticized him when he left, but he's taking fewer shots. In fact, he's taking the fewest shots since his rookie season, yet his average is the same. Isn't this exactly why Kevin Durant moved? He's now shooting 58%, not 48%. Oh, he lacked courage. I would argue that going somewhere and you know you're going to get crushed by fans in the media actually is courage. Loyalty's the safe way. Doesn't mean loyalty's bad, but it's easier. It's easier for me to stay at a place. It's harder to rebuild my program. But Kevin Durant didn't want more shots. He wanted better shots. And it's an indictment of Russell Westbrook. He couldn't get these type of shots. Kevin Durant chose quality over quantity, and I love that choice. Work smarter, not harder. You hear that all the time. So, I mean, largely the goal in life for all of us, right, is to work a little less and hopefully keep mostly the same quality of life, income, free time. If somebody came to you and said, same income, but you can work 30% less, it'll be a little easier. I'll give you a little support staff. It'll be a little easier. You'd be like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Okay, that's what Kevin Durant did. Kevin Durant selfish. No. Kevin Durant now is shooting a significantly higher percentage on fewer shots. His average is the same. Who wouldn't take that? Like I maybe it's the puritanical nature of America. There's got to be an honest day's work. Yes, but if you were an attorney, a doctor, a school teacher, a landscaper, if you could make the same working 40% less, why wouldn't you? What's happening to Kevin Durant right now is exactly why he left. He's getting far more open looks, shooting like 50%, 58%. That's why he left. That's exactly, these guys that leave, we always burn their jerseys. We do. We always want to burn their jerseys, but the best sign that you made the right move if somebody burns your jersey.
Because you meant something to them.
Yeah, I mean, it meant something, and there was a ton of passion about you, and it also means you're really good. I mean, nobody's burning a jersey when Rudy Gay leaves town. They're doing it when LeBron leaves town and Kevin Durant leaves town and, Dwayne Wade leaves town. I mean, you have to be a Hall of Famer. Kevin Garnett leaves town. People are upset. Like when a Hall of Famer leaves town, there are not many of them in the league. People get really upset. And that's what Chris Broussard was on our show last week talking about that. There's like this whole thing here. They're smart, high-end players. They're smart basketball players. It will eventually work out. Now, I don't think necessarily their bench is as good. I think they need more beef. They don't have a rim protector. But here's Chris Broussard.
To Wade's credit, because that's one of the first times, I think the first time in NBA history that an alpha dog in his prime on a team, had his own team, and gave his team over. Yeah, gave it to LeBron and, want to win championships. So I give Wade a lot of credit for that. Steph may have to do that.
I think
Steph may have. He's still going to be a superstar, just like Wade was. But to the degree that they're going to have a number one option, I think it's Durant.
It is Durant.
Did you see what happened with their free throws yesterday?
How many did they shoot?
22.
It's better.
They got 13 points.
That's better.
I just don't think that's the difference. They beat the Mavericks by way more than 13 points.
But you're not going to face
night.
the Mavericks in the playoffs. You're going to face good teams.
This is the Herd Podcast.
Greg Cosell, 30 years, NFL Films. We bring him in on Thursdays. How are you, Greg?
Colin, I wish it was only 30. It's 37 now. Can you believe it?
Wow. And you still love what you do.
I do. I'm in my 37th NFL season here at Films.
Isn't that amazing?
That's insane.
That is insane. And by the way, when he started, it was, do you remember the first year?
I sure do. I started on July 23rd, 1979.
How do you know that?
And what kind of film was there? Like, what was the film like?
Well, back then it was actually film. What you think of as film, like you're watching on an old projector at home. It was film.
So you had to tape it together?
We had to splice it together. There were two ways to do it. There was actually tape, and there was something called hot splicing, where you used a certain kind of glue.
Oh my God! Like an Elmer's glue?
Well, yeah, kind of. It didn't quite say Elmer's on the product, but yeah, I imagine it wasn't all that dissimilar.
Yeah. So I'm watching Denver and Oakland, and everybody's going to talk about Derek Carr, but what I noticed in that game was the line play.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, okay, we know Derek Carr's talented, but when you watch the tape, the fact that Oakland went toe-to-toe in the trenches, it seemed to me at times was a bigger win. What did you see?
I agree on both sides. And I think that one of the things that stands out there, and you hear this all the time in all sports, Colin, is that to be a championship-type contender, you need to be able to win more than one way. Because if you can only win one way, you're going to come up against good teams. As the magnitude of the games gets bigger, the teams get better. So teams then take away your strength. So if you can only win win one way, and last week we spent a lot of time talking about Carr after he threw for 513, deservedly so, of course, but you have to be able to win more than one way. And I thought in that game, defensively as well and offensively, clearly, as you suggested, they were able to win physically. They were able to win a trench warfare kind of game. And I think that that's really important for their development moving forward.
All right, with Dak Prescott, when you look at film, here's my question. Are the Cowboys opening up the playbook, or are you seeing the same kind of variations and schemes from week one to now? Tell me about the expansion of the plays.
I think it's not so much the expansion of the playbook. I think it's comfort with players. Like, for instance, this week in particular, I thought that Jason Witten and Prescott really started developing a little chemistry on routes, because Witten has not really been a big factor in their passing game through the first part of the season, as big as we were used to seeing. But I thought this week there were a number of plays where Witten and Prescott, against zone coverage in particular, really sort of worked together and understood where the void was, when he would get into the void, and therefore when the ball gets thrown. So I don't think it's necessarily an expansion of concepts. I think it's a better understanding of working together. And you can't rush that. That has to happen organically over time.
Yeah. It's funny about offenses. The San Diego Chargers are interesting. Every time I watch the Chargers, it's one of the best teams with a losing record I've ever seen. And I was sitting there watching it the other day, and I'm like, God, they're just a machine offensively. Is it schematics? Is it personnel? What is it about their offense?
Well, it's both, because Phillip Rivers is maybe one of the greatest overlooked quarterbacks that we've seen in a long, long time. But I think what's happened in particular the last 2 weeks, starting with the Denver game, is Melvin Gordon. When he came out of Wisconsin, one issue I thought he had was I thought he'd struggle as an NFL runner because he ran through gaping holes in college, and I didn't think he was a guy who really hit it up inside when the point of attack was closed. 2 weeks ago against Denver, obviously a very good defense, he ran hard. He gained hard yards, and that's the sign of an NFL runner, and that continued this week. And I think now they have it looks like he'll be a true feature-type back. Plus their defense, their front seven is getting very, very good. Joey Bosa is going to be a very, very good player.
Yeah, he is. I was wrong on that one. When you watch the Steelers, obviously Big Ben off an injury, you could just say it's just rust, maybe his motion wasn't there, but it was inept. I mean, one first down in the first half. I mean, it was completely offensively inept. Okay.
I'll tell you what I saw. I mean, what I saw was his feet were a little heavy. He didn't look comfortable transferring his weight throwing the ball, and that always causes problems. He was inaccurate because of that. The Ravens played a lot of what we call too high coverage, which means they're daring him to throw the ball underneath. They're daring him to be patient, and he wasn't overly patient. And believe it or not, I thought his receivers struggled to win against man coverage. And I think that even Antonio Brown, this was not a real good game for Antonio Brown. And then the other receivers, Sammy Coates did not have a good game. So it was a combination of things. But Ben did not look like himself. Maybe he played a week early. We don't know that.
Okay, so Matt Ryan's always been solid. This year he looks spectacular. And, I look at his body type, I look at his throwing motion, and I think, okay, well, what is it? Tell me on the tape, compare him to last year.
Well, second year in a system. This is an offense that is starting to expand concepts. Before Coleman got hurt, they were using him as a receiver really effectively, detaching him from the formation, creating matchups. I think as this year has progressed, they've gotten a tight end now that can actually attack vertically in Austin Hooper, the rookie from Stanford. Yeah. So now they have more dimensions than they had a year ago. So I think Matt Ryan's always been a good quarterback, Colin. I think the numbers are just a function of the fact that they now have more dimensions to their offense.
Yeah, and he's comfortable using those. Now, when I watched the Colts in Green Bay, the energy from Green Bay was flat. It was fairly, from the opening kickoff on, it was like, all right, we have an urgency situation here. Indianapolis came in fired up. But I don't want to talk necessarily just about Aaron Rodgers, and that's fine. Whatever. Beyond Aaron Rodgers, when you look at their running game, their protection issues, what's wrong with Green Bay?
Well, first of all, they're playing predominantly now with 4 and 5 wide receivers because I think Starks is due to come back this week, but they haven't really had a running back, so they've used Montgomery as a running back, and he's done okay, but they've essentially played with 4 and 5 wide receiver personnel, so they don't really have a stable run game. And no matter how good you might think the quarterback is, it's very difficult to play that way in the NFL. And while Rodgers' numbers are good, and at the end of the day, he's not playing very consistently either. And we could go through that because the tape tells all. And I watch him very, very closely because he's now become a very polarizing figure. But this game, there were receivers open that he missed. And I keep trying when I watch tape to think, okay, what's his reading progression here? Because I see receivers open. So I'm trying to figure that out, and I don't presume to know, although I've seen enough football to know more often than not. But this is an offense that really has no consistent run game and a very week-to-week passing game.
So, but you are seeing, everybody says, Aaron, nobody's open. The announcers.
Well, that's always easy to say, and that's true every once in a while. That's always true for every team every once in a while. But last week, there were receivers open against the Colts.
Greg Cosell, 37 years.
37, Colin.
No longer uses Elmer's. He is gone uptown.
And the key thing is I started when I was 5 years old, believe it or not.
Greg, good talking to you.
All right, Colin, thanks. Take care.
Catch the Herd from noon to 3 Eastern on iHeartRadio and FS1.
Yeah, I saw Nick Saban came out. Nick Saban said, I don't even know, it was election day. I was talking about football, and people were like, whoa, man, the country's bigger than football. For Nick Saban, he's a grown-up. He's not on Twitter all day. He's worried about his job. But, the thing with Colin Kaepernick, I heard this over and over. It was so dumb. It's that, well, you're telling me the issue he's talking about, police brutality, isn't bigger than football? Well, for a football player on Sunday, no. Football's bigger. That's your job. That's why here at Fox, I can't be a political activist when I walk in the door. This idea that can you imagine? I mean, cancer's obviously more crucial than anything I do. Should I talk about cancer all the day at work? Because cancer, the idea that, well, Colin, there's issues out there that are bigger than blank. Of course there are, but you're a paid employee. When you walk through the door at work. Keep your political activism elsewhere is a very legitimate argument. Now, I think in professional sports, NBA, NFL, because of Facebook and social media, these are television shows. Like the NFL is not just a business, it's a TV show on 5 networks. There's optics to talk about. And I think you have to be careful about being too rigid with your employees. 75% of NBA players are African American. There's obviously, it's on television a lot. They're empowered superstars in America. They have a right to an opinion. But the NBA has said, no. When it comes to anthems, stand for it, or you'll be fined for it. In the NFL, they're like, you don't have to. So, but stop with the, well, police brutality is bigger than football. Yes, people are dying with police brutality, obviously. But for a football player, a football coach, sorry. But for
salivating over the subject.
But for a football coach or a football player, when you walk in those doors, football's number one in your life. When I'm hiring people on this team, you can be an activist all day long, but when you walk in the door in the morning, head on, straightforward, focus, game on, give me topics. I'm not worried about you want to be an activist? Be an activist. But in that 3-hour space, when I'm preparing for my show, I better be the most important thing in your life. I've had to tell people before, don't call your wife during our prep. Don't call your buddy during our prep. Unless the house is burning down, prep's prep. Turn your phone off. So that's the most important thing when we show up for work in the morning. That doesn't mean that you can't be an activist. Doesn't mean it's the most important thing in the world.
Right.
But for Nick Saban, when he shows up for work, the most important thing is Alabama football. He's not worried about Trump and, Washoe County and who are they voting for, red state, blue state. He's worried about football. That's why he's a great coach. Discipline, focus in, concentrate. I've said this about Kaepernick. One of my real concerns about Kaepernick, he's not even committed to the weight. Watch him play, skinny. Like, you have to be committed to your body before anything. Like, I can't come to work with a hangover every day. The first way to be committed to your job is to be committed physically to your job. I know a ton of NFL players. The minute they retire, they all lose 75 pounds. Every offensive lineman I've ever known. So what does that mean? That means they carry 75 pounds of weight they don't want to carry. They have no interest. It doesn't make them look good at night when they're with their wife. It doesn't feel good. It hurts the quality of their life, but they have committed to football physically first. I talked to Tony Gonzalez one time. He's like, I'm so glad that I don't have to wake up in the morning and rush to the gym. When you commit to a sport, you have to commit physically. Kaepernick doesn't have the needed weight. He went vegan. It's like, dude, you are 15 pounds too thin. You used to be yoked. That was part of your armor. It was part of your game. You haven't even committed to that. You got to commit physically. If you're going to play hockey or football it'd be like not training. It's
you
like
can't just make the choice to go vegan and eat no meat and eat, nothing that will put meat on your bones.
Okay, ask yourself about this. If you were for a relay team at the Olympics and you just didn't commit to your body, you'd be letting down the team. What's the difference with football? Like if you're a football player and you decide, I'm going to go vegan, and you lose 42 pounds as a left tackle, and now you're 259 pounds, you're not committing to your football team. Your body, in sports like football, where you are asked to be heavier. Every guy I know in football, I mean, how many football guys do I know over 30 years of doing this? They all shed weight. Every guy sheds like 10 to 15% body weight the minute they leave the sport. You're making a multitude of commitments in any job. You're making the time commitment, the financial commitment, a social commitment. I tell my wife there's going to be a handful of days family second in my life. Not many, but the Super Bowl week. Take care of the fam. I'm not around. Super Bowl week, 1 week a year. I'm out of town. I can't rush back on Tuesday. House burns down, about the only exception. I mean, seriously, it's just I have to commit a week a year. I can't go back with my family. If you run, whatever, HBO, Fox, Disney, give me days like, honey, we got a crisis. Stocks dropped 42 points. I got to go. Take care of the diapers. I got to go. It's the reality of it. Colin Kaepernick, what bothers me is he hasn't committed to his body, first of all. And second of all, stop with the whole police brutality is bigger than football. Of course it is. But when you walk through the doors of a workplace, that's the most important thing. Nick Saban cares about Alabama football. That's what he should care about.